Hello. It's early on Wednesday morning at about 11:23 a.m. The date is November the 16th, 2016. Now, all of these previous recordings, when I focused on the problem, it's because I wanted to prepare for the next sessions, which are possible ways to handle it or what to do about it. Everything I'm saying is based on what to do about the problems. I don't really care what they have done already because I expect them to do that. That is their opening salvo. You picture yourself in front of a opponent at a chess game or whatever game you want to play, or whatever sport or whatever. When your opponent opens up their move, you don't complain about how they made their move. Your focus should be on what you're going to do about their move. So, us telling white people how hurt we are and how we're marching and fussing doesn't work for me. I don't care how they did it. I care about what we're going to do about it. That's my focus. When they opened up their move, I stopped caring. I do not care. I don't care that Trump won. My focus is what we're going to do about Trump winning. So, marching and shouting isn't my solution. That's not the way I handle problems. I look at what I need to do about it and try to find a solution to make it work for me. Because I expect you to open up the best move you have. You know, with a chess game, I expect you to open up the best move that's going to knock the hell out of me because I'm your opponent. The problem is a lot of black people are confused about being the opponent. They think we're on the same team. But to me, that's just not looking at the reality of what's happening. So recognize that when they're working against you, they're not on your team. So my focus is on what the next move is. Now, what I will do is go back over and illustrate problems because I want to let you know what the problem is so I can look at the solution. Some of the things that work for me, I've got outlined here, but let me preface it with this. This bunch of solutions is not for everybody. Everybody, this is not a universal thing. Everybody is not at this level yet. There are some people who are just beginning to even recognize that there is a question of a problem. This ain't for you. This is not for you. There are other people who are way beyond this and won't even let their mind absorb that it is possibly a problem. This is not for you either. There are people who like the way they live and they know it's a problem, but they just want to tweak it a little bit to make it not be so painful for them. This ain't for you. There are people who believe that we got a way to work together with white people and the other team. Not for you. This is not for you. There are people who think that they don't need to make any changes and it'll just be okay. This is not for you either. There are people who are happy with the way things are and just want to change this or change that or even stop the bleeding, so to speak, and they're perfectly happy. This ain't for you. This is not for you. This is about us looking at ourselves. Now, when I do speak of this and the things I'm going to say, it's not that I don't recognize that white people are a problem. It's that there are certain things we can do now ourselves. Now, the way what I thought about it in my head the other day, the way I'm going to describe white people problems in this and black people is this. Picture a haystack that's 2 buildings tall and about a block wide. That kind of big old, well, 3 stories tall. Let's go 3 stories tall and about a block wide. There's a haystack. Go to that haystack, pick up one strand of a piece of hay, break it in half, then break it in half again, and then hold up and look at that approximately 2-inch piece of straw in your hand or hay in your hand, and then compare that to that big old that 2-story haystack. This is the amount of problems that black people have, okay, with this stuff compared to what white people have done, okay? So that little 2-inch piece of straw in your hand, hay in your hand, compared to that big old block, 2-story tall pile of hay that white people have done. So recognize that I recognize the magnitude of the problem and the difference. So what I'm going to be focusing on now, though, is that little 2-inch piece of hay in your hand. And I'm going to call those some of the things we can do, because I'm recognizing some of the problems that we have that we can do. The way I approach problem is I own it. That is, even if something happened to me externally that I couldn't control, I still recognize it as my fault. Because as soon as I own the problem, I can own the solution in my mind. A long time ago, something had happened to my car. It had ran out of something or another, or did something. It was a mechanical problem on the road, and I had a relative nearby, and he picked me up, and we were talking about it, and the way I explained my problem was I did X, Y, and Z. But he said, but that's not your fault. And I said, no, but it might not be my fault, but if I take ownership of it, then the solution is in my hands. So all this stuff that white people have done, that might be so, but if I take ownership of it, that is, I didn't do what I needed to do to make sure that you weren't able to do that to me, then the solution at this point is in my hands. So when my opponent opens up their opening salvo, if they make some good moves that knock me down, I need to focus on my good moves and knock them down, because that's my opponent. And so this right here is what we can do now, my lecture on what we can do now. And these are our moves. One of the biggest things we can do to help us make our moves is this: stop being the instrument for our own destruction. They set us up to hurt ourselves. That's among the things. So let's look at that and how not to be that person that's hurting ourselves, among other things. The topics on this one is, first, the title is What Can We Do Now? Or What We Can Do Now. And I got several of them. The first one is interracial romance, black women, black men, the next steps, and it ends with the next steps. So let me scroll back up here. The reason why I like to write a little outline is so I can sort of stay focused, because like I said, it's a continuous lecture. It's all the same lecture except broken up in different parts. So if I can stay focused on a little bit, I can stay on topic and make it more coherent for the various listeners. So let's talk about interracial romance. And the first thing I got on here is I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. If you are in an interracial romance with somebody white, I don't want to hear your problems. I don't want to see you on the internet talking about how bad this person is. I don't want to see you fussing about this or fussing about that. I'm tired of you. You're going to be over there in their bed. And if you're in their bed, you need to stay there and just get out of the civil rights movement. Go march or whatever you're going to do, because you're not useful. You have no use to us. You're not even bright. How are we going to use you to help us when you're not even stupid enough to get out of the bed of somebody who's humiliating you? I don't think so. I don't want to hear your problem. I really do not want to hear it. I don't want to hear the men, don't want to hear the women. So you've been on notice about this problem for at least 20 years. Then some some who are younger, 25, that's been your whole life. How in the heck can you get in bed with somebody who doesn't respect you? I don't think so. I just don't want to hear it. So either shut up or take it and go. But I don't want to hear you. Not interested. There was one where this little idiot was listening, filming her stupid boyfriend while he had a racist rant. And the only thing I needed to hear on that video was her saying something that should have been a past tense video, and it should be titled "Why I Left My White Boyfriend." That's the only thing I wanted to hear was how or why I left my white boyfriend. If you're going to point out something racist that your boyfriend or girlfriend is saying or did, then it should be past tense saying why I left my white boyfriend or why I left my white girlfriend. Otherwise, I don't care. And then it should be relegated to a testimonial page for other people because I honestly do not care. Don't want to hear it. Now, interracial romances that are current and you've been married and you got kids, I call that a sacred pledge that you made to that other person. And so I'm not saying that you should leave your marriage partner or the loved one that was the love of your life and y'all got married and had kids and y'all built a future together. That's a sacred pledge, yes. But get out of this movement because it's not for you. You guys need to be somewhere else where you all are dealing with people who have that worldview sort of thing, like the more traditional civil rights movements. This one that I'm on, this journey, is despite that. I've found that the old civil rights movements or the traditional ones aren't working for me. So this one is despite those. So this one ain't for you. You need to be at another movement. Some of those. To me, those don't work, but for you, they might. These have everything you got to say to us has already been considered, and this is the result of it, despite whatever you might have to say. Because I honestly don't believe you got nothing new to say, and this isn't for you. So that's my stance on interracial romance. Um, at this point, any young person that's in an interracial romance, if y'all ain't broke up and going on somewhere, then I don't want to hear from you. And if you do have a sacred pledge with someone that's interracial, then y'all don't need to be here either because this movement isn't for you. You will get nothing good out of this. Now, I got to hold on and go drink some water. Okay, I'm back. I had to make a cup of tea because my voice was going. I'm home from work today because I'm not feeling good. So I left off with talking about interracial romance and how if you are in an interracial relationship and and you and your partner have made a sacred pledge to each other, then you should stay in that relationship and keep on building your family. But do get out of this movement because it's not for you. You need to, in my mind, go to some of the more traditional ones. The traditional ones don't work for me, which is why there's still a need for something because they haven't worked yet. But for you and your piece, you need to go over there instead of, and don't no longer even be over here because you're just in our way. And we'll always be suspicious of you because you have your own agenda. And even if you're actually trying to help, this part of this movement needs to be done with black faces and black hands, and they need to be solid black hands. So this isn't for you. Now the next topic is we're talking about is going to be black women, and I'm gonna get back and I'm gonna talk about black men in a few seconds. I'm looking on the internet and I listen and I watch, and black women are doing things that they didn't used to do. In the civil rights movement, give me a second, I'm gonna take a sip here. I'm back. I grew up in the 60s when the civil rights movement was in force. I did go to the karate movies. I watched Bruce Lee movies. I watched when they were first on film. And it was great, really. But we had a different attitude about ourselves, the women. We were powerful, we were strong, self-assured, and focused, no matter what we were doing. That's not what I'm seeing now. I'm seeing silly little girls, actually. I hate to say that. And for the women that are about to listen to this might not be for every one of you or us. And when I say us, I mean both me and you. But what I'm talking about, it might not be for you. For example, if you intend to be a hoe, then close up this uh, cast and go on and do your thing. But if you don't like that, and I suspect you don't, then I'm gonna help tell you what some of what's going on that's wrong and why. And then I'm gonna tell you what to do to make it right. Because I've been there, I've seen it, I know. I've been through all of these phases. I had a hoochie mama phase. But when I was in my hoochie mama phase, I was still respected and still considered lovely. I'm not even half as cute as the little girls are now, because I don't know what they did, but the young ladies are very beautiful. But they are still feeling like they're not. And that's because of something going on in your head. And we don't talk about that. Okay. So black women, the first step is clean up your acts. But before I talk about that, I'm going to talk about a little bit about white women and the difference. White women are a different kind of a woman than black or Asian women or even Hispanic women because they've been objectified. A white lady on a magazine cover, 99.9% naked, won't raise an eyebrow because they don't see her as 99. They just see her as a thing on a magazine cover. I mean, you can look at a white lady on a billboard from the back view, totally naked, except for a string around her hips, showing that she has on a thong or a G-string. And nobody would even bat an eye because we've been seeing that all our lives practically. I'm looking at there's a magazine cover now that keeps showing up in my Nook, trying to get me to buy it. I forgot what it's about. I think it's some kind of women's magazine. But the lady has on lace. She has a tiny triangle of fabric that covers her pubic area, and I think she has on some kind of top that's really a string thing. But essentially, all the white lady needs to cover up her body is two pasties or two something to cover up her top half so that you won't actually see her nipples. And all she needs is a triangle to cover up her bottom part so we won't actually see her pubic area. And this is considered PG rated stuff. This goes on billboards, magazines, TV shows, everything. Because a white lady can be nearly naked and still not be something that anybody would notice. Not really. We see them all day. There's a word for that when we talk about white women, and that's called objectified. Or yeah, objectified. White ladies have been objectified. That means they were turned into an object rather than a person. Now, this term is common in art and in philosophy, where we look at the visual arts. So remember when we were laughing about the Supreme, when they were fussing on Congress about naked women, but the senator who was fussing about it was standing in between two statues of naked women while he's fussing because he didn't see those as women. He saw those as objects, and he didn't realize the irony of what he was talking about because they were objectified. And a lot of people didn't even notice it because these women, naked bodies were objectified. They were objects. They're not people, they're objects. And this object permeates our whole society all the time. But black women, when they see you naked, they see you as a lewd woman, or a woman who's showing stuff, because you're a living person, and they see you as a living person who's nude or nearly nude, and it makes you look bad. Okay? So same thing with Asian and Hispanic women. They see you as people. They don't see white women as people. In fact, they only see a particular kind of white woman as the object. A slightly heavier weighted woman is because it will be seen as a person. Remember back when Lane Bryant had that underwear ad that got all that controversy? It was a slightly bigger woman than the skinny women that we see all day on everything. She was slightly plumper, rounder, and she was walking around in underwear. They got a lot of press and a lot of criticism for that because they figured they said she was um, lewd or risque and stuff like that. Our children shouldn't see it and da da da. But Lane Bryant's and the rest of the people's comeback was, you see this all the time. Why is this lady different? It's because this lady was seen as a real person rather than an object. So it's only the skinny white ladies who you see all day long on everything that's objectified. Black women, you are not objectified. You are a real person. And so when you're doing lewd, or not lewd, but if you're naked or half naked or 90% naked and you're doing stuff that makes you look lewd, it's going to come off as lewd. So I'm just going to take a sip, and I'm sorry if you hear me. Okay, that feels better. I've got a microphone with headphones, and it's a mouth mic that with you sit on your ears with the headphones. I like that rather than the remote mic, because the remote mic picks up all the sounds in the room and outside and all. And I'd rather have let you hear my voice. The other mic, you can hear the cars go by and all of that, and various other sounds that are all around me. It's just ambient noise. But unfortunately, I'm catching a cold, so I'm hoarse. Forgive me, please. Back to what I'm talking about. So, yeah, clean up our acts. And topic B on that is return to loving ourselves. Because we were bussed these last few generations, where we had to interact at the same time as children with white people, we lost some of our old lessons learned and our old values and adopted some of theirs. And their values don't really work for us. There are certain things that white girls do that black women can't do without being considered bad. White women do it, and it's part of their culture and them. There are things they do, and they will be just considered a skilled lover. There are things you do, if you do the same thing, you're considered debauched. So understand, we aren't the same women as they are. We can't do the same things. And white women are treated a certain way and do certain things. And we have tried to do that, and it's not working. We're just coming out the loser. But you're really, because you have adopted somebody else's values, and it's not standing you in good stead. It's hurting you while it helps them. So I'm going to talk about some of the values that worked for us before we were bussed. Now, some rules, and that's what I call that. Never let anyone hurt you, even for sex. White women can do that. You can't. All you did was just reduce yourself, reduce your personal value, really. Never let anyone hurt you, even for sex. Never let anyone humiliate you, even for sex. This goes for your friends and your family. Excuse me. Do not humiliate yourself, but do be humble. Whole difference. Humiliating is when you let somebody do something that's meant to reduce your dignity, and you let them. But do be humble. Do say please. Do say thank you. Do let the person know that they are of value that you're talking to. Do let them know that you respect them. But when people are doing things that degrade you, you got to walk away, even for sex. If you got some guy that's dating you and he wants to do all kind of weird experiments that might be painful or humiliating, you got to walk away from him. If you're not interested in that and he's trying to talk you into it, he's looking at his interests versus yours. Remember when I talk about how men love me and how I have been well loved? I didn't do a lot of stuff. I don't even do the general stuff that they do today. I didn't and don't. You will not be doing things to my body that I don't find that I personally like. And the guy, only thing difference is this. Long before I let that man touch my body, I will have screened and interviewed him to see how he thinks. And I screen and interview you remotely, that is over the phone. We'll trade phone numbers and I will talk to you a long time. It's about a 2-hour conversation on in, generally. And I know exactly what you think. And I will have already told you what I do and don't do or don't want. And he'll ask me a follow-up question or two specifically. And then the decision is in his hands whether he wants to proceed. And even when I don't do that long 2-hour interview, that's if I only do that if I intended to see you again, if we did get along. But if I'm just in a mood and want to do a one night stand, and you could do that in the 60s and 70s, you couldn't do that like that. I stopped doing that junk when AIDS came out. You had to be 9 layers of production. Before that, though, everything you could get could be cured with penicillin, and all you had to do was have some kind of good birth control, and you were good to go. Just wash real good when you're done. Everything's live. It's all fun. No long-term consequences. AIDS came out, and I had to slow down a bit and be more careful, and which I did, and that was fine. It's still easy, but still easy actions. And if I wanted to do whatever I wanted to do, I did. But I didn't never deceive the guy into thinking I was going to do other things. And I will say to you, my young sister, don't try to play games with men. You don't have to lie to them. Men are really simple creatures. The more truth you tell them and the more upfront with them you are, the less confusion and the less drama and the more they appreciate it. So don't be sitting there showing your wares and then not telling what you ain't going to do or what you don't want to do. Y'all need to agree on what's going to happen in the bedroom before you get there so that there be no other pressures when you get there, because it's not fair to him or you. So agree and understand what you're interested in, and understand what you're not interested in, and he needs to either agree to it or disagree to it. No matter how cute the guy is, honest to heaven, there are more men. There's no last man for anybody. There are, and contrary to what people might think, almost any man can be a good lover. only thing that they can't control very well is duration. Some of them have less duration than others, but even with certain pills and techniques, they can even work on that. So almost, yeah, any man can be a really good lover if they do the right things, and they can be taught that. So there's no last man for anybody. For me, a man has to have the right energy vibe. That's why I don't internet date, because I can't feel your energy. I can't feel your spiritual energy, and I have to have that. But in general, almost any man can be a good lover if he wants to be. I gotta add, if he wants to be. And he can do all kind of stuff, and your body will be very happy. But you have to make him understand what you do and don't do. And the way I decided my criteria was, if I don't like it or don't want it, It's a no-go. Because to me, my happiness was my priority. I am not about making him happy. My priority has to be me first. Now, you might call that selfish, but you have to be selfish when you're focusing on yourself. So I had to be my top priority. Oh dear, my phone's ringing. Oh, I don't know what that means. Okay, hold on. Wow, I'm back. Let me adjust my mic a second. Okay, so basically, I'm just saying, you set your own priorities about what you do and don't want to do in the bedroom, and you base it based on your interests and what works for you. And then, after you made your decision about what you want and don't want, make sure whatever partner you get with understands that before you even have sex with them. And leave it up to them to decide if they want to proceed. But don't play games with them. Don't try to trick them. Don't try to get them in the bedroom and then twist it around. No, be upfront. I'll also say this in general with romance and how to get men is this. First off, you got to know what kind of woman you are. Understand yourself first before you ever even go out to the club or go out to whatever you go to get your boyfriend or go hunt for dudes. Know yourself. Know how you think. Know what you are interested in. Some women have strong sexual desires and they have strong sexual needs. Understand that's what you are. Okay? Get that through your head. Get yourself in your head and understand that. Then there are other ladies who don't have strong sexual needs and basically aren't a freak. And they just general stuff, okay? And she's looking for a partner to spend her life with. Okay, you're going to be doing a different search than the one that's just wanting to roll around a bit and be sexually satisfied temporarily till the hunt is on for the next one. You both have different agendas, so y'all cannot be playing by the same rules. The one who has strong sexual needs and just wants to have sexual interest and a sexual, what does they call it, an itch to be scratched, has got a different priority or should have a different priority from the young lady who wants a good, steady relationship. So understand what you are actually wanting. It took me years to understand what I wanted. I didn't want a long-term relationship. I really actually wanted a steady, temporary guy because I understood that the more men that hump on your body, the more wear and tear it is on it. I mean, my bosoms were perky to well into my 40s. And only after I got some years and couldn't find good bras did they even begin to have any kind of a droop. But they were just perky well into my 40s. And your body will stay that way if you treat it right, okay? I had smooth skin, didn't have a lot of marks and stretch marks. When I had lovers, I ain't got a libido now, I'm a little old lady. But when they were there, I had men that take good care of me way more than I took care of myself. I mean, only thing I did to my body was wash it and do hygiene and stuff like that. These guys, well, they were good lovers. So they made me feel they treated me better than I did me. But I was careful to make sure that they understood that it was their honor for me to let them have my body. And that was even for the one night stands. Every lover I ever had, except for the two that I made go away when two separate occasions, when a guy that I did screen but wasn't a good lover, and I made them, get up and we watch TV or something because you can't have my body because you weren't doing it right. Just bad lovers, and both of them were men who had a lot of sex with white girls, incidentally. Because I asked, because you're just doing such a terrible job. And he wasn't even mad that I asked him to get up because he knew I wasn't feeling it. I don't think he would have finally, I guess, had an orgasm, but I wouldn't. So, eh, what can you say? But I'm saying this is that be careful and don't lie to them. Don't try to trick them. Um, don't try to use them. Don't try to play games. And the more honest and upfront you are with them, the less confused they are and the more they'll appreciate it. A lot of these romance problems are about unrealistic expectations that one or the other gave the other. And that's bad. That's what the confusion is. When I was out in the clubs, I bought my own drinks. In my day, I don't know whether it's so now, but young ladies would try to play this game where she would sit there at his little table and drink all the drinks he can buy, and then go home without giving him her phone number or anything else. Essentially, trying to figure out a way to use the guy and pretend like she's with his expectations, only to reverse it. And the men, would take it because they're, to proceed and force an issue would be a bad thing, a crime. But I always felt that was unfair for them to drink drinks without honor, without proceeding with the implied obligations, like a phone number or that you actually do like them. But they used to play that because it was a power game, I think, on some level. But when I first started going out, I bought my own drinks because I felt like it was unfair if for you to buy me a drink. I had a job, I could buy my own drink, and I would dance and all of that. And if I did want to proceed and give you my phone number or take your phone number, it was fair. I didn't need for you to buy me drinks out in the club when I just met you. And that, and when I did, exchange phone numbers and talk to them, like I said, I was well loved. Men loved me. They did. I was just not. I'm still not the type that would want to settle down for that. No, that's not my nature. So it took me years to get that through my head that wasn't my nature, but that isn't. And even after my mom's third marriage, she was happily single, and so am I. So I did never get married, fortunately. So there's no man out there. That's my ex-husband, and he should thank me. I even told guys that proposed to me that they should thank me because I'm not really marriage material. So never let anyone humiliate you, even for sex. Sometimes they want to do sex acts to humiliate you because they feel like they want to humiliate somebody. So they want to do things like that or do something painful for sex. If it's not in your interest to do that, don't do it. But you should have already had the discussion about what you are into and not into before you even get to the bedroom. Now, even for friends, there are friends, even white friends that you would call white friends, would sneak in that I call it the how I can get away with this remark, or remark that they want to get away with, or even word that they want to get away with, and they try to slip that in. If you have any conversation with friends that make you feel uncomfortable, then perhaps they're not your friend, and you might have to call that herd, clear them out. Every year, before I got my herd down, and this is an old concept. You take it, assess the people that are in your life, and find out if they are making you happy or not, or of benefit, and you decide to either cull them or keep them. Cull means to reduce, cut them out. So cull the herd is old farm term to get rid of the bad animals who aren't any good or of use, and keep the strong ones so that the whole herd can benefit the better instead of having them just using resources. So sometimes you might need to cull the herd, and this is even for family. Sometimes people in your family are toxic. You might have to back off from them. And some of these people might be even close to you. But you have to consider that. Okay? Now, I already talked about do not humiliate yourself, but do be humble. And I just wanted to put do be humble there because there's a difference. But also don't humiliate yourself. In your effort to, every woman goes through this, especially the pseudo pretty girls or the pretty girls. Just a second, I'm going to take a sip of tea. Thanks. Excuse me there. Even the pretty girls go through this where they aren't sure where they stand in their beauty. All women go through this. That is, they are trying to figure out their own sexuality and their own beauty. And they usually are in their early ages, but now I'm seeing where the women might go through this for years, where they're trying to assess where they stand on the beauty hierarchy. And so they reveal themselves and make you understand. And these days they want to go on the internet revealing themselves. But they don't understand there's a difference between beauty and sexuality. So even though you're revealing yourself to show your beauty, they're reading it as you trying to be sexy. Not everybody that's revealing themselves is necessarily trying to be sexy or show themselves to be sexy. But we have no business even playing that game because it's going to read as you trying to be sexy. So if you're trying to be sexy on the internet in public, then that means you're lewd. If you don't intend to be seen as lewd, don't do that. Now there are women who make a living selling their sexuality. They get paid big bucks. But the general person doesn't. So you can be beautiful without showing your body. And remember, when you're showing your body, you're seen as a person. The objectified skinny white girl is seen as an object. That's why you get bad comments where nobody says nothing about the skinny white girl. Okay? And people get on there talking about, oh, I see you this, you that. Well, picture yourself, picture somebody walking down the street and showing their this and that. And she's just standing around showing it, black lady, black female, curvy, showing in a G-string and or thong and narrow skinny bra, walking down the street, showing her whole body. Everybody else is dressed and in clothes, yet this one is standing there showing her body. What would people think of her, and what would you think of her when you saw her? Because you'll be wondering if she's a prostitute or a stripper or this or that. None of it's good that you're thinking of her. You're thinking she's not even quite sane. Okay, that's what people think of you when they see you on the internet half naked or nearly naked. And that's a form of humiliating yourself. And so stop that. If you need somebody to know that you're beautiful, or if you're insecure about your beauty, then you can do that with clothes on, honestly. You really can. You really can. I was in one of the Mideast countries, in Egypt, to be exact, Cairo, near Giza. And in order for me to walk around without looking like a tourist, I dressed like they did. So I have on the long dress and the head wrap, and I would walk around, right? But I'd have my full clothes underneath it, like blue jeans, shoes, a full shirt, full blouse, and our top, and I would have a whole outfit underneath this big dress. Don't you know those young men would sweep their eyes up and down my body and say, very nice, or look at me as I walk away and leer as I'm in this big dress that is shapeless. There was not a seam or a curve on the dress. It was a big moo-moo-like dress that I fit over my clothes. So I'm saying that no matter what you are wearing, some man can look at your physique and tell whether he likes what he sees. Okay? If these fellas can leer at me and my figure in that big old shapeless dress that's fit on over my clothes, you don't have to worry about somebody knowing how you built. Okay? They can see how you built. So you don't have to get half naked for somebody to see how you were built. Men can see under your clothes and figure it out. You don't have to reveal yourself. Normally, in the 60s now, we had the mini dresses, the hot pants, the halter tops, but at no time were we humiliating ourselves because we had a different culture in American history, and we saw ourselves as fun. It saw that. Now I gotta pause again. Oh, I am catching a cold. That's why I'm home from work today because I wasn't feeling good. So yeah, even though we were loose and acting silly in our revealing clothes, we still had a form of class. Right now, I'm not even seeing class. Among the things that's going on that's seeming without class is they don't know when to wear their revealing clothes and things. You wear your revealing clothes or your want to be attractive to men clothes at the club or at the place where young people go out to be single and have their fun among each other. You don't wear it to work. You don't wear it on the subway in the daytime. You don't wear it at the grocery store. You don't wear it in everyday walks of life. You wear it after 9 p.m. Same thing with the heavy makeup, the super heavy makeup. There was, but class means, well, you know what class means, but I'm going to give a little background on social standing. That's what that's where you are with social standing. The various levels of social standing, if in any culture, is multi-leveled. They have the upper class, and with class, this is usually upper income group, and they're taught manners and mannerisms and behaviors that imply their status. And if you have an upper income group and upper status, you behave a certain way. The middle group has another set of status and things. But the lower classes and the lower groups have a different set of rules or a different set of behaviors. And you can tell that nobody ever taught them manners because they're doing things that are unmannerable. And that's what we mean by class, where you fit. If you want to show that you fit in the higher classes, then you act like it. And that you have the resources to show you have good manners. People who hire folks for jobs look at how you carry yourself. If you're carrying yourself like you've never been taught manners, you probably won't get the job because they will feel like you don't represent their company properly, or that you would be something that's a detriment to their company rather than a help. That's what I mean, why it is so important for you to behave and look as if you have some understanding of proper manners that are conducive to the good functioning of a given society. And a word for that, that's a single word, is they call it class. Another word that's a single word is they call it, that's not class, but the opposite is common. Neither one of these words is usually in my vocabulary, but I think that it's relevant here to show how women can fit and don't fit. A man, if you're looking for a relationship, for example, I might have to break this up in two pieces because this is going on 48 minutes. But if you're looking for a good, steady, strong relationship with a man, and you're looking for a man with a good future, then you're not going to choose a man that doesn't have the qualities that will be conducive with a good future or even with a stable relationship. This man has got to be able to prove that he can earn a living and take care of a family. Excuse me. He's got to prove that he has an understanding of the priorities it takes to focus on things that need to relate to earning a living and taking care of a family. The women do too. The man is also, that man that you just pictured is looking for a particular kind of woman. He is not gonna go fall for the lady who's shaking her rear end on the internet in the G-string. He'll have sex with you, but he ain't gonna take you home to his family because he's not gonna want to have a long-term relationship with you because you do not show that you'll be conducive to a good future with building a family and helping to take care of it properly in a way that's going to make them strong and healthy. You are being a good object for sex, just as you have shown yourself to be as you're standing there gyrating in a G string on the internet. You're not going to be taken seriously as wifey material unless you're a man that, unless it's from a man who's not going to be taken seriously as future husband material that's going to have a good future that's not in the porn industry. But so the man that you're picturing as a man that's going to be a good provider for your family is not picturing a skank, a woman who believes herself to be a skank or behaves like one, behaves like she could be. He's picturing a woman that's going to be an upstanding woman who's going to be able to handle the responsibility of motherhood and household. If you want that kind of man, then you got to show the qualities that he's looking for, just like he's got to show the qualities that you're looking for. Among those qualities is a certain level of behavior. And, you got to be the woman that you need to be for that. And he's got to, just like you're looking for the man that you need to find for that. And there are behaviors that don't go and there are behaviors that do go. Dressing properly, that is dressing suitable for the occasion. Now, if you're going out to the club or going out wherever, fine, put on all the junk and wear the revealing clothes. But if you're just going out shopping, then you don't need to have all that on. You're not a prostitute and you're not a stripper, so don't dress like one. You want to see somebody to look at you and think of you as more than somebody to have sex with, then don't be wearing clothes that puts them in the mind of sex. Okay, if you want something bigger than that, then you got to act bigger than that. That's what I mean by getting our act together. We can't do what white girls do because it won't be seen the same way on us. We got to take another standard, and this is old school stuff. Wear your clothes that fit. Don't look sloppy or ill-kept. No matter how much money you do or don't have, you can still wear clothes that fit or are loose. If you're going to wear clothes, then don't have them too tight, wear them too loose if it's not going to fit. If you're out in the daytime and you're looking sloppy and ill-kept, people think you're stupid or just not too bright because you don't have sense enough to wear clothes that fit you, in so many words. And they know that you're not going to go any further than where you are. And now the next one is try wearing your natural hair. Black women, our hair has always been a spot of weakness. It's always been the Achilles heel for black women because we were adapted for the African sunshine, but we come over here with all these other straight-haired people and we're in the wrong continent. Our hair was really hard to manage and grow and keep healthy because we just weren't in the right environment for our hair. But nowadays, they finally got products that help our hair and help us keep our hair. So we can get rid of that weakness. People will hit us anywhere they see a weakness. When you're on your chessboard and your enemy open up their moves, if they see a weakness, they'll hit it. And one of the places they're hitting us is with our hair. And since our hair can be used as an advantage if we do it right, and since we are fighting this opponent, we shouldn't give them that weakness. We shouldn't let them hit us in our weakness. So yeah, start wearing that natural hair, not to mention the money that can be saved. And not only do I say your real hair, I would say your natural texture. The thing is that the white lady, which is our social enemy on some level, can't do some of the things we can do. Just like we can't do some of the things she can do, she can't do some of the things we can do. Two things we can do. that she can't. One is that we can cut almost all of our hair off of our head and look beautiful. We are some of the best looking women with our hair cut off in the world. We turn ourselves into exotic looking goddesses when we have our hair cut off. And I'm talking about those, not the TWA, that's too big. I'm talking about almost down to less than about a 1 to 2, about less than an inch, a half inch of hair on our head. We're fine. We can cut it off, shave it off, it still look good. Because we can do that. Other thing we can do, and white girls can't, they gotta have that, they need their hair. Very few of them can cut their hair off and be okay. The other thing we can do that white girls can't is we can go without makeup and be beautiful. We don't have to have a thing on our face and we will still look lovely. No other women in the continent in the world can do that and still look good. We can. There are black women who don't wear complexion makeup and don't wear eye makeup. If the most, they might wear lipstick and they look good. So those are two things we can do. So instead of it being a spot of weakness, it could be a spot of strength and power. Because your enemies are going to hit you where you're weak. And our hair is our Achilles heel. But it doesn't have to be. It could be our weapon. And just putting that out there. When I stopped wearing stuff, I used to have a 280 wigs, because it was a social in the 70s with the performers, 60s and 70s, with performers wearing so many wigs and things. It was a status symbol for my generation to have a bunch of wigs. And so I did, because I finally got a job and could buy them. And I did. I had 200 and something at one time. I even got pictures of them somewhere because I, thought it was interesting. And I did. I wore a lot of wigs. I enjoyed them, loved it. But in the, I think 1989, I stopped perming my hair and I stopped wearing wigs. And I realized I never even gave my real natural hair a chance. And when I was fooling with it, I loved it. I haven't looked back since. So if I can stop with the fake hair, anybody can stop with the fake hair. And I saved a lot of money. So no, I don't even get perms. I think I had a relapse and got a curl in 91. And as soon as my hair was a little bit long, I cut that off. And so I don't fool with fake hair, and I find that I love that. Next one is about the women under the get our act together or clean up our acts. It's stop with the foul mouth. It's undignified. It makes you sound stupid. Two young men that I work with in my company that I work with, they were talking about their life out in the club. They were comparing clubs. And one guy was talking about the female he was talking to and getting ready to be interested in. But as soon as she opened her mouth and started cussing, he just lost interest. That's what he told his friend. He just lost interest because he just hate that, And these are two handsome, dark-skinned black brothers talking about women cussing. So it also makes you sound weak-minded. Good men run from women that cuss a lot. I'm reading my sentences here. And it sounds like you don't have a future, or you can't create a future with them. And undignified is, even though you might be dressed nice, look good, going to your job, all that stuff, as soon as you open up your mouth and start cussing, you just reduced your whole standing. And you didn't help anything. Okay? And it makes you sound like you're too stupid to even know that you reduced your own standing and know that you didn't help anything. I'm just saying. Plus, it sounds like you're weak-minded. And the man that I just described that you would be looking for would have ran from you. And it sounds like you don't have a future. And you don't, because if you act like that, then you can't go any further than you are. Because nobody wants you to work for them because they're not interested in you. You're not going to help their company. Now I'm talking about black men, and clean up your act and return to loving yourself. And I got down here some rules. when I'm on the internet and I'm listening and watching, I turn away from the ones that both groups. I turn away from the black internet speeches that talk about all the things wrong with black men when black women have them. They got all this big old long list of junk that black men done wrong. These women do. And then I also turn away from the ones where black men get this big old long list about what all black women do wrong. I don't listen to either side of that. We got enough stuff, we got enough blame to go around. Neither one of us have been perfect, but we do need to reconcile and make sure that we address our concerns and go above those concerns and focus on our own priorities about what we actually do need, because neither side is fair for us to be beating up on each other. It is way time past for that. We can't afford it. So if you're gonna be black in the world, then and we're gonna focus on that, as I call the main goal, the black man, woman, and child going into the future, being healthy and strong and self-sufficient. Then we got to do that with each other. So if you're a black man that's got a whole big old long list of problems with black women and you don't intend to change that, then this ain't for you. If you're a black woman got this whole long list of stuff wrong with black men and you don't intend to change yourself either, then this ain't for you either. Okay? So what I did was basically copy and paste the part where I talked about black women. I copied and pasted that into black men. The first three parts: clean up your act, return to loving yourself, and some rules. I got different rules for the men and the women because we do different things, but it does have to be addressed. In fact, I only got 1 through 5 topics for it. And first is clean up your act and return to loving yourself. Let me see how to put this. I'm going to go with return to loving yourself. When I was a teenager in our high school, the young men did this thing that it seems like everybody in the world forgot but me. And that's when I look at my yearbook, I remembered it. The young men, black men, would unfasten their belt of their pants and unfasten the top button and unzip their pants 2 inches. And so all the young men of my school, high school and high school, wore their pants down. But they didn't wear their pants down like they do today. They would wear silk underwear that's in colors. Like they might wear red silk or blue silk or green or purple. Silk underwear with a top and bottom silk underwear that were clean and pretty. Yeah, they would wear silk underwear with a t-shirt with sleeve and briefs. No, not briefs, boxer shorts with the elastic. So the t-shirt that's under their shirt will be tucked into the elastic of their shorts. And then their belted pants would be hanging at the top of their butt. The belted pants would be hanging at the from the rear view. You'll see the elastic in his shorts and the his belted pants hanging down about 2 to 4 inches below his elastic of his shorts. But if you go around to the front, his pants were unbuttoned and unfastened at the top. They were still hanging at their hip level, but they were hanging about 4 inches down on their hips. Now, this is what's going on as far as I can figure it out. And it's some of what you already have surmised. But in the civil rights movement, this was black people feeling powerful and aggressive. And despite all the junk that was going on behind the scenes that I can see now in hindsight, it wasn't apparent at that time. We were feeling powerful, empowered, and aggressive. Back then, with the men were pulling down their pants, it meant aggression. The front of his pants were unfastened, and the front of his pants were hanging down, as if he was able to whip out his penis and hump something quickly. So he didn't want to bother with fasten, unfastening junk when you're already unfastened. You could just whip out your penis and hump something. That's male aggression. This is hindbrain thinking, subconscious on the hindbrain level, the primitive level. And wearing your pants unfastened means that you have just removed barriers from humping things or inserting your penis in something. That's a power move, okay? The power is male. Your penis is male power. So being able to hump something quickly is a male power move. Okay, that's male aggression. That's male power. Now today, the young men are wearing their pants below their buttocks. That's male submission move. You are essentially telling, and the young men, and that's what I looked at one day, and it broke my heart because I got it. It was right after Tamir Rice was killed, right? And the guy got away with it, and we knew he was. But the young high schoolers came on the subway train with their pants pulled down below their buttocks, with their underwear, the thin sheet of underwear, tighty whities, I would think, hanging below their buttocks. And I almost cried because I got it. These young men were telling the world that I'm going to be your bitch. Please don't shoot me. I'm not a threat. I'll be the woman. I'll be the beta. I'll be the omega. Please don't shoot me. That's what these young men were saying. As I looked at him walking by with his buttocks literally almost exposed, except for a thin sheet of fabric, I realized he was trying to tell the world that he's willing to be the bitch, not to be shot, not to be threatening. And it was a little straight boy. And him and his friends had their pants down too. Because the anus is the male vagina. That's where an alpha would hump a male if they wanted to hump a male. So if you're, for example, before and as black people felt weaker, the lower those pants got. And it's been going on since about 1981 when I first saw it. I'm sorry, not 81. When I first saw it, I saw it in 89 or 90. 1989, 90, or 91, thereabouts. A young man was in Northeast walking down on a college campus with his pants down, not down below his buttocks, but low on his hips from the back. And that was the first time I saw it. And as the years went by, they've gotten lower and lower. But so did we feel less and less empowered. More and more aggression from other people came at us. If those pants are below where the anus would be on this young man's hips, that's when they start go to the point. Excuse me. Go to the point of telling the world that they were willing to be the bitch, that they are willing to be the woman, willing to submit to other male power. And that's why the young man, I got it, and that's when it hit me, that's what that was. This young man was afraid of getting shot or killed with no protection or even repercussions to the shooter, that he was telling the world he was willing to be the female, willing to be the bitch, willing to be the beta, because he was that afraid. So I'm saying to you that nobody's confused about that. I'm sorry. Everybody's been confused, but I finally got it. That's your weakness. So we need to empower ourselves well enough to stop being willing for our males to stop being willing to be the bitch, as in female. And my heart still breaks because that's what we did to our young people, our young men. Okay? So return to loving yourself. Right now, you still feel weak and unempowered, but you can fix that. Okay? It still troubles me. It still breaks my heart, and it still hurts when I finally got it. And now, excuse me, some rules. I fin return to loving yourself. Now, number C is some rules. Be self-sufficient. Right now, our mothers who are raising sons are raising you to be dependent on them, unfortunately. And this is so for middle class parents in general. When and I'm gonna back up a little bit. When middle class parents are raising middle class kids, we're taking away their challenges from them. It's not helping them in our efforts or in the parents' efforts to provide for the child and see that the child doesn't have the problems they did when they were growing up. The parents are supplying everything, fixing everything, doing everything. But what you're actually doing is taking away that child's chance to succeed by solving their problems because they won't know how to solve them because you solved them already. As I was watching my relatives raise their children, I saw them solving problems for them and I was troubled by it, but I wanted to see how it comes out. And like I suspected at the time, I'm seeing the fruit of it now. Yeah, supplying and doing everything for your child doesn't make them sufficient. It makes them less sufficient. Only thing you taught them to do is call you. You haven't taught them how to solve anything. So stop it with the supplying and fixing everything for the kid because the kid has got to call on the lessons learned from fixing things themselves. Right now, as I'm an adult, when I run into an obstacle, I call back to the things that I already accomplished and fixed and did, and the problems I've already solved to give me strength to proceed with solving this new problem. It's something like if I can do X, Y, and Z, then surely I can do A, B, and C. I can do this because I did that. Okay, I need those lessons to help me fulfill the new lessons or to solve problems. If your child hasn't got that background of problem solving, they don't have anything to call back to. So they're ineffective. They can't solve anything. And so 30 years later, when they're still with you in the house and can't do nothing right, you're wondering what you did wrong. Well, this is what you did wrong. You didn't let them solve their problems, and you supplied everything. Even if you call yourself teaching them lessons and stuff, it's not enough. If you got a 19 or 20-year-old in the house and can't do nothing, then you might be already too late because they didn't solve anything. So I'm just letting you know that's what the problem is. So a lot of women that are raising young men are teaching their young men how not to be self-sufficient. They're cooking for them, they're cleaning for them, they're got them living in the house, and I'm not convinced they would do that for a daughter. I know two good, strong women who are raising sons, and they got their sons in that boat. One is still cooking for a 20-year-old and saying that she enjoys cooking for him and she wants to feed her son. But the thing is, she's crippling him, and he will be crippled in about 10, 20 years when he still can't cook or do anything else and she's tired, she's going to wonder about that. And because I've already seen it. I've seen it, and it's not helpful. So be self-sufficient. Be able to clean up and cook and clean and all of that for yourself, as well as get out and do some sort of work, even if it's something that you have to supply yourself. And be preparing yourself. If you can't find a job, okay. This manufacturing as we know it is gone. You won't be finding a manufacturing job. And the manufacturing jobs were the only jobs where unskilled labor or non-trade labor could find and make a decent income, because they needed you to help assemble things and they would train you for what you need to assemble at the time. Those kind of jobs aren't going to come back in the way we think. So that's not going to be the not going to be our road forward. But it should be okay still, because we don't really, and we never did really need those jobs. We took those jobs because we stopped doing the things that work for us, that we need to get back to. But and I'm gonna come to some of that. I might put that on next steps in this next recording, because I'm gonna break this one in half because this is pretty long. So yeah, be self-sufficient. Find something, and if you can't find a way to take care of yourself monetarily, at least be preparing so that if something comes along that's an opportunity, you'll be ready for it. Okay? You won't have a lot of opportunities, but when you do have an opportunity, you have to be able to jump in it when you get that chance. Okay? My next topic here is get your manhood back. Remember when I talked about Osiris, how Isis could do all these things for him, but she couldn't get his manhood? And I basically said she could put them together, she could have his kids, she can love him, but she can't get his manhood for him. Because in the story, Osiris's manhood was taken away, swallowed by the cursed fish. And I do get the irony. He's got to go back and find that fish, find where it unplugged it and dispersed it in the ocean or the lake, and put it back together and put his and get his own manhood back. A woman can get your manhood back for you. You've got to get yourself, my brother, because we can't do it. We can't go get that for you. But we need you to get it for us. Get it for yourself so that you can take your rightful place beside us. Right now, as it stands, only a few of my brothers are ready for that. They to take their rightful place beside us. The women got their own problems, but our men have their problem too. And because of this land and nature and our problems that we had when we got here, your manhood was removed from you. We need you to get that back and take your rightful place, or kill trying, or kill or die trying, because we can't have you. If you're not going to get your manhood back, then fine, shut up, let us do it, because we'll have to do it. But don't stand there talking about what our place is, because we took your place. There are men that are talking about the woman being in a place, da da da. If we have to be forced to do what you need to do, then we're taking your place in our family. And I'd rather not do that. I want to be beside you. So when I'm looking on the internet and listening how white men are attacking young black girls, this is fatherhood duty. Fathers of black girls need to be on somebody's butt about harming our daughters. That's man work. Don't force the wife or the mother to do that, because she will, but she don't want to. Man work is to protect the family and to protect his daughter. They talk about the strong black women and how black women are aggressive. We want somebody to rescue us. But we found that we don't get rescued. So we have to figure out how to make sure we get what we need by doing it ourselves. If you hear us being aggressive and loud and fussing, because we done figured out we got to do it ourselves. I want you to do your part. So get your manhood back, get out there and help rescue your daughter. So anybody that's attacking your child, no matter who they are, it is your obligation as a parent of a child to pull out all stops to protect your child. Every animal on this planet that has a in-house father, from a bird to a mammal to anything, has the obligation and right to protect their children. So if somebody's harming your child, it is your job as a parent to jump on whatever it is. Okay? That is your function as a parent. No creature that's got an in-house father, not all creatures have in-house fathers, but when it's a mated pair and they're together, the father is obligated, and mother is, but the father is the first line of defense to jump on whatever's attacking the child. And that is our parents' obligations and right of every creature endowed by nature to protect their child, no matter who it is. So go off and go and protect your child. That's part of getting your manhood back. That's step one. And we can do that now. So if anybody's jumping on your kid, I don't care if they're in the school board, school, I don't care what level of whatever it is, you need to be jumping on something to get your child protected. Right now, we're missing a boat on those because there are people attacking our daughters. And that's automatic. That should have been an automatic busted lip somewhere, you know? So get your manhood back. Do what it takes. This is man work. Don't make it be woman's work. If it becomes woman work, then forever man shut up. If you can't get your manhood back and do man work, then thereafter shut the heck up. Because you got a job to do. And that is protect your family. Protect your children. Fight for them. Okay? Now, I already talked about pants and my high school versus now. Now I'm going to go with choose your mate carefully. Young men, I know that every woman you date isn't the right woman for you, but you shouldn't have chose her. You got to make sure that you choose women that got a future and that's got the moral fiber to be the kind of woman you need to build a future with. You can't choose some woman that you done humped and it was some good humping and then y'all going to be together because it continues to be good humping when she's not the right kind of woman that's got the right moral fiber. She's going to go hump your friend's neighbor and anybody else that rings a bell. That ain't the right woman. That's a good humping buddy, but that's not the woman to build a future with. Okay? So if you and the woman that you do choose to build a future with come to an understanding about what you need and what you plan to do, follow through with that, but choose it carefully and investigate. If you come out to the club and you tell a lady some line about whatever and she winds up going to bed with you, this is a lady that'll go to bed with anybody who tells her a line about whatever. Okay? This is not a lady that's or a woman that's gonna be selective. She wanted to be humped. She's not there because you're that special. She there because she decided she thinks you're cute enough and can get the job done. Get that through your head. Just like men play, women play. So she's already decided whether she was going to sleep with you when you walked up. She just waited for you to give a line so that she can pretend like like she it wasn't her idea, but it was, and she set the stage. But occasionally you might have that love at first sight and first hump thing, and it might work out, but usually it don't. Just choose your mate carefully. You stop playing games and let her stop playing games. But you need to choose carefully. And I'm not going to say there are special places to meet and find these kind of women and all of that. I'm saying that wherever you do meet and find women, be careful. Next one is be careful of where you spread your seed. And most men stop getting white girls pregnant because they have a hand in your future and they have a hand in your child's future. And that's certainly not the way you would need that to be. So be careful of where you spread your seed. Plus, you might spread your seed in some woman who's not moral. She'll also have a hand in your future and a hand in that child's future. And that might not be where you want that child's future to be. So be careful of that. And there's no excuse for you spreading your seed in women who aren't going to represent this new future. If you can't do that or that and above, then you're not ready to make a change. And if you're not ready to make a change, then this broadcast is not for you. Don't be offended, but just don't be here. This ain't where you need to be. Okay. that's the end of this one. I'm going to start with number 4 on next steps on the next broadcast or casting or recording or whatever they're calling these things. Okay, let me end this one now at an hour and 24 minutes and stopping.